Morning. I'd like to welcome everybody to the People's Church of Divine Prophecy. A couple of housekeeping rules. Please silence your cell phones unless you're medical or law enforcement personnel. Restrooms are down the hall. Quick right, quick left. Cold drinks in the back. Hot drinks in the back. Help yourself at any time. Didn't ask anybody about the candles yet. I guess how about Marie? You want to light the candles? Very good. So this is the beginning of the service symbolizing the unity of body, mind, and spirit. Thank you. Please stand for the invocation or remain standing for the first hymn. Dear Father God, we give thanks for this time here today. May we truly feel your presence, your hope, and your love. May we be able to express that through us to those around us, as you have no hands but ours, no mouth but ours, and no eyes but ours on this earth. We give thanks for this moment in time. Amen.
Amen. In the old pages, number 11. He's like a river. I got peace like a river. I got peace like a river. I got peace like a river in my soul. I got peace like a river. I got peace like a river. I got peace like a river in my soul.
Portion is a thought for the day from the pastor. Kind of funny, I did a church service out in Kansas while I was out there, and they don't do quite as the services we do. They might have one song and a lecture, and that's it. So I did a full church service like we do here, and we got the amen corner going, and it's on the left side of the church, just like it is here. They was clapping and dancing and getting up in the aisles, all from the left side of the church. Seems funny, that's energy over there. I guess what I'd like to talk about today is during that sabbatical I had, I was working from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. doing circles, facilitating classes, but in between I had a lot of time for self-introspection about me and my purpose with spirit. And you know, it's we all talk about being moved by spirit. We all know what spiritual values are, but you need to ask yourself a question: what does the other side have intended for you? What do they want you to be? You know, there's a persona of you that they're trying to develop you into. And as you think towards that coming to you from the future, you'll begin to feel the presence of what they're trying to develop for you. The Spirit sees probably 2 to 3 days into the future, the firm future. I mean, that can be, you can see further than that, but that's the best guess. But 2 or 3 days ahead is pretty firm. And they develop who you are in that time frame. I guess a lot of what came to me when I was meditating on that, and then I came back here to the real world, is people really don't appreciate sometimes what they're involved in. You know, I got a greater appreciation for this church and what it was about because of some. And here, you know, we've got, they had a couple of keyboard players there, and they were just having them play one or two songs, and I told the keyboard player, I said, you play whatever God inspires you to play. And by God, he got them up off their feet, dancing in the aisles. He was like Jerry Lee Lewis, standing up, playing the keyboard, you know. All the other times, he's just sitting there playing these real somber, slow hymns, because that's what people wanted. So you turn people loose, and they get going with who they're intended to be, and that's what he was intended to be, that kind of piano player. And, you know, when you come back from that, you come back to the real world, and you have to get engaged with the real world. That's the real challenge, remembering that peace and that harmony, that when you're there, it's kind of, that's all you're in. You don't have any choice but to be in the middle of it. You know, you can block out all the immediacies of life when you're there, because they feed you, they got a cabin for you, it's all provided for you, so all the immediacies of life are taken care of. And you spend your time doing your spiritual work or thinking about your spiritual self. And I guess one thing that I came across with most of the people there and in my own life is it's really hard to be spiritual when your heart's hurting from either grief or loss or loneliness. And some people, you know, that's mostly what they talk about when they come to me for readings, and that's been my biggest challenge is in those areas too. When that happens to me in my personal life, trying to believe in the spiritual principles and not be drawn into the instincts or the genetics of who we are as a human being and act out that way. That's the real challenge back and forth. And I guess at this time, that's where, and I'm not talking about the undying faith that you hear about where you believe no matter what, but there is a faith in who you think you are, a faith in who you are as a higher being that you have to draw to in those times when there's no answer in front of you. You just have to know the strength of what you believe and how you believe to get through that. And the other thing that comes into your life is help from others that you have a trust in. Those are the two primary things that help you get by those difficult times, whether it's family or a good friend or a pastor or a priest or whatever. And I can kind of see now why some of the religions, like the Catholic faith, have their priests. They're not allowed to marry. They stay in the seminary, and that's their whole purpose in life, is to be of service to the congregation. They don't have a lot of personal issues to work through. They're 100% into the faith and the word of the faith. And there's a certain amount of validity to that, but I imagine it also produces a bit of difficulty too. But I can understand why they would do that, and that's what that sabbatical was for me, just sitting in that, understanding who I was and what I was, and appreciating where I'm at this time. They all thought that, you know, that they hadn't seen mediumship like that before, and they're all telling me, oh, you're really good. And I said, you know, I wish you wouldn't say that. And they said, why is that? I said, because I'm expected to always be really good then. I don't, anything less than that drops the bar, you know, and you get disappointed. So. And you know, that's kind of like life. You go the extra distance, and the extra distance appreciated the first time, expected the second time. So you kind of got to keep an even keel with that stuff. I guess I've kind of rambled on enough, but that's what's been going through my mind this past week. And like I said, that's the real challenge, bringing it back to the earth plane and being able to make it work in the daily life. That's the biggest challenge that you're going to have. And the best way for that is to take time in the morning to renew that connection to Spirit, to renew that nature of who you are as an eternal being at least once a day. Sit in it, even if it's only for 10 or 15 minutes, and just appreciate that which is before you and that which you truly are, that will never die. Thank you for listening. Please stand for the next hymn.
In the white pages, number 7, Swing Low, sweet cherry. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Looked over Jordan and what did I see? Coming for to carry me home. A band of angels coming after me, coming for to carry me home.
portion. Marty, are you able to do healings today? I'd like to have Marty and Judy do the healings today. Our newest certified healer, Judy. I wasn't here when she got her certification, but we all worked very hard for her, and she worked very hard to get it, so. Well
Did you have the
deserved.
cake?
Well deserved, yeah, I got the cake. So. The way this works is you have a seat on the chairs there or in the back, and you'll be moved forward for the healing as it comes due. If you hear this during the meditation, which Ashton will be doing, that means the healing chairs come open, usually in the back there. So just move back there and have a seat, and we'll move you forward as the healing chairs become open. We'll begin this portion by reciting the prayer for spiritual healing on the back of the hymnal in bold. I ask the great unseen healing force to remove all obstructions from my mind and body and to restore me to perfect health. I ask this in all sincerity and honesty, and I will do my part. I ask this great unseen healing force to help both present and absent ones who are in health and to restore them to perfect health. I put my trust in the love and power of God.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Let's get ready for the meditation. Find a comfortable position to sit. Like there is no tension on your physical body. Just sit relaxed. Feet straight on the floor. Palms up in the mat. Close your eyes. Take a few deep breaths. Inhale and exhale. A few more times. Inhale. And with your exhale, release and let go. If there is any tension in your physical body. If you are experiencing any aches or pain. With your exhale, just breathe it out. Let it go. Let go of the thoughts that are occupying your mind. If you have any worries, any concerns at this time, breathe it out. Engage with the mechanism of your breath. And just turn within. Turn within. And connect with that peaceful space within yourself. That is calm. Quiet and soothing. Feel the connection of your breath with that peaceful space that is within you. And while you breathe, feel your breath, the energy of your breath flowing throughout your entire body. Your mind, your spirit. with the flow of your breath. And this peacefulness and the quietness. This is the true state of your being. Embrace the boldness within you and be still. Be still within you. It is in this stillness you become aware of the infinite potentials that are within you, within your consciousness, that is not limited to any reality. Become aware of the infinite aspect of your being that is unlimited. Tap into the vastness of your consciousness and discover the hidden potentials that lies within. The potentials that is capable of stepping into any reality. Creating, manifesting, materializing with detachment and with the knowingness that you are not limited to any reality that increases the potentials of your infinite being. Embrace your infinite self and your infinite potentials. Feel your awareness expanding. Your consciousness evolving. Connecting with the entire universe and with every sentient being. See yourself in the center of the universe. You are part of the universe. You are connected to everything. are observing the vastness of the universe, the realities of the world. See yourself, you are above all and everything, and yet within all and everything. Apply this universal understanding, the universal knowledge and the wisdom to any reality you would like to see it transform, change. Envision yourself, your life, and your circumstances and see it with an expanded view, with an expanded awareness that there is a solution to everything. Shift your perception and the way that you handle your life circumstances to a higher perspective, where you see the positive outcome in every reality that enhances you to do your highest best, your highest good, that serves yourself and others. Believe in yourself. Have faith in yourself. That you have the power to change, to create. For the presence of God is within each one of us. It is the spark of your soul that ignites your spirit. With God, all things are possible. Surrender to the will of God. With God, all things are possible. In times of need, ask God to give you the serenity to accept the things that you cannot change, to give you the courage to change what you can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Ask God to be in charge. Be in communion with God. Let God lead you, guide you with all your endeavors. Trust that all is fine, that all is in divine order. You have the free will. listen to your intuition. For all the answers to your questions are within yourself. Just pay attention to that inner voice, the inner whisper, the voice of your creation that speaks to you in quietness. And trust it. Do not doubt it. For the voice of your Creator seeks your highest good. Communion and feel your connection. The kingdom of the heaven is within you. The kingdom of the universe within you. Embrace this truth as you wish, and let it manifest and unfold wherever you are, whatever you do. Just be the light that you are. Be the love that you are. Feel your peaceful breath, bringing you back slowly, engaging with your physical senses. Become aware of your feet, your head. Already open your eyes to the here and now. Thank you.
We'll end this portion with an inspirational reading. A truly spiritual man or woman would like to have a serene mind. The only way to keep calm in this troubled world is to have a serene mind. The calm and sane mind sees spiritual things as the true reality and material things as only temporary and fleeting. That sort of mind you can never obtain by reasoning, because your reasoning powers are limited to the space and time. That kind of mind you can never obtain by reading, because other minds also have that limited in the same way. You can only have that mind by an act of faith, by making the venture of belief. Hymns in Kansas were a little different. They were more like northern hymns, but they were still good ones. I miss the guitar and the southern hymns, though, I can tell you that. The next portion of the service is the inspirational lecture. And today we have Dr. Reverend Phil DeLong speaking, and he's been here a few times. He always has an interesting perspective on the things in daily life. I've seen him come along from a student to where he is now over about 10 years, and it's been a nice to be a small part of that with him. So without further ado, Dr. Reverend Phil DeLong.
Thank you for the introduction, Steve. And welcome, everybody.
Thank you.
Today is a special day. It is our summer solstice, right? And it is Father's Day. So happy Father's Day to all. Now, does everybody have a father in here? At least everybody has a father, okay?
I don't think there's any test tube babies in
There could be. My speak tonight is about life and its values. And I would like to start out with a couple poems. First one is anonymous. And it starts out. God took the strength of a mountain, the majesty of a tree, the warmth of a summer sun, the calm of a quiet sea, the generous soul of nature, the comforting arm of night, the wisdom of the ages, the power of the eagle's flight, the joy of a morning in spring, the faith of a mustard seed, the patience of eternity, the depth of a family need. Then God combined these qualities when there was nothing more to add. He knew his masterpiece was complete, and so he called it Dad. As we grew up, everybody has a father and a dad. Father can be defined as many things. It is our biological father and the love that comes with it to make us dad. And then we have our Creator, who we sometimes call Father, who gives us that spiritual energy, that spiritual inspiration. But we also have another type of father, and that is what I would call our spiritual mentors. The people who we seek advice from, knowledge from, the people who more or less mold us into what we become. Steve is one of my spiritual mentors. Dr. Thomas, who's been here before, is my spiritual mentor. So it's what we want to do in life is to bring in the people that can transform us into what we really are. And we usually have to seek the teachers who have the most knowledge to gain that information. And then once we gain that knowledge, we move on. Life is always a teaching event, so seek the mentors out that you need to seek. I also have another anonymous poem. This has to do with fathers. A father is someone that holds your hand at the fair. Make sure you do what your mother says. Holds back your hair when you are sick. Brushes the hair when it is tangled because your mother is too busy. Lets you eat ice cream for breakfast. But only when your mother is away. He walks you down the aisle and tells you everything's going to be okay. So with this poem, it is more or less a concept of time. And when we come into the world as a child, then when we age, our concept of time speeds up. When we're a child, we have no concept of time. We're being fed, we're being nourished by our parents, and we, as the infant state, just begin to mature and age and experience what we see around us. Then when we go into elementary school, we go through 9 months of school, and then we can't wait for the summer. But during that time, summer seems an eternity to have fun, to do what we do in summer. As we age then in high school, and summer vacation comes, and school starts in the fall, and we say, what happened to my summer? So time is speeding up. As we become adults, then time really speeds up. And we have to actually have to take the time to plan for vacations that we seem as fleeting moments in our experience. Then we reach the Middle Ages and the Golden Ages, and we actually come to a sense that time is precious. And each moment with our family, with our friends, is something to cherish. I want to talk about my father, and his name is Clarence. He was a history professor, and he encouraged me as I was a child to read, to gain knowledge, and to explore.
Hi, Nerf.
Good. And to actually explore the unknown. So he encouraged all that information. I can remember we would make butterfly nets out of the old onion bags. We'd catch the butterflies and then we'd release them just to see which kinds we could get. I think I remember the yellow butterflies and the monarchs were the ones I cherished. When I was 5 years old, then as a birthday present, I got a geology kit. And this one pretty much got me excited about crystals and mining, and it made my imagination go wild. And then, besides looking at stones, I was looking for dinosaur bones because I really like dinosaurs. How many people have seen Jurassic World yet? Anybody? Okay. Good. I'm still waiting to go. Right, Ann? Happy Father's Day. So, but then we would go on family vacations, and we would go to places in Michigan like Mackinac Island and Mackinac Bridge, and then we'd go out in the lake and we would actually look for the Petoskey stones. If anybody knows anything about Michigan, it's the state stone. And that would expand your imagination as well. Up there they had a couple forts. Fort Michilimackinac was a British fort in Mackinac City.
Intermission here.
All right, is that better?
Yes.
Okay, so on Mackinac City, they had Fort Michilimackinac, which was a British fort, and if you ferried over to the Mackinac Island, they had Fort Mackinac, which was a French fort. Okay, as we get that. But then that explored the fascination about history for me. It also brought into the Native American type crafts and lore and the history of that. So basically what my father installed into me was a seventh principle of spiritualism, and that is we must affirm the moral responsibility of the individual, and that he makes his own happiness or unhappiness as he obeys or disobeys nature's physical and spiritual laws. So it was with that imagination as a child that I was following these spiritual laws. However, as he and both my parents were teachers, it was homework first, then play, okay? And so I guess this was obeying the physical laws of nature. And my father was that strength of a mountain. And at times he would put the fear of God, behind him. And I dreaded the words from my mother, "Wait till your father gets home." So I grew up Catholic, and now I'm a recovering Catholic. Or repurposed Catholic, I think this is a better word for it. And then as I grew up, I had these imaginary friends, and I had visions. And what my parents said is I had an overactive imagination, and these things could not possibly exist. So although they discouraged it, that part of me was just put on hold, and I continued to express my spiritualism. Now, as I was explaining how time goes on, I want to explain a quote give a quote by Mark Twain in his Old Times on the Mississippi, and it was published in the Atlantic Monthly in 1874. When I was a boy of 14, my father was so ignorant that I could hardly stand to have the old man around. But when I got to be 21, I was astonished at how much he had learned in that 7 years. And we all go through these phases growing up. Even with my children, they're like Bullwinkle, Mr. Know-It-All. The parents don't know anything, but it's a phase of just gradually experiencing who you are and the growth values. Hopefully at that time, the parents can install the values that are needed at that time. I think I turned out okay, so I thank my parents for that. But then I have a quote from John Lennon. He states, "As usual, there is a great woman behind every idiot." And I want to explain metaphysically, when we think of God the Father, it is the masculine or positive polarity of the Godhead. And it is the coordinate of matter. And so God as a Father, who of necessity includes with himself as God the Mother. So we refer to it as Father, Mother, God. So everything in our life is in balance between our parents. And my mother held the balance when we were growing up. She took the fear out of the emotions, and she smoothed out a lot of things that my father would be hard-headed on. And bless her for my encouragement, as my parents somehow, like I said, molded me to who I am. Now, I'm a middle child as well. Even though I'm a twin, I was considered a middle child. And that had all its idiosyncrasies as well. And sometimes it was unfair in my regards. My twin brother got a little bit more attention because he was a little bit more sickly when I grew up. But I didn't understand it then. I understood it now. And I want to say the biggest disappointment that my father had, and he stated it many times, was that I became an independent voter. Then I would go into the voting booth and just strictly vote Democratic and pull that whole thing. So, but both my parents, they also expressed the sixth principle of spiritualism as I was growing up, and that is, we believe that the highest morality is contained in the golden rule. Whatever ye should do unto others, or whatever ye do unto others should do unto you, do ye also unto them. okay? And when I was growing up, my mother, who was actually a Catholic teacher, and my father supported her, they would always bring up the tale of I am my brother's keeper and why we should do that. And I want to do another poem. This one's by Deborah Ann Belka. It's entitled, I Am My Brother's Keeper. I am my brother's keeper. I help him to understand. I encourage him to put his life in the Creator's hand. I am my sister's keeper. I help her see the light. I encourage her to grow, to keep the light in her sight. I am my neighbor's keeper. I pray for their daily needs. I tell them to always listen, to follow where God leads. I am my mother's keeper. In her old age, I help her out. I hold her hand when lonely to calm her fears and doubt. I am my father's keeper. I lift to God his very soul. I pray each day and night that he will be made whole. I am my children's keeper. I listen to their concerns. I pray as they become adults, God's will they may discern. I am that I am, and I am my keeper. The Creator and my guides are with me every day. They watch over me, and to this I hold sway. So with being our brother's keeper, we look at society this day and all the fragmentation that it has done. And everybody's enemy, it seems. Here we are in a place of like-minded people. And this is where we have what I call brotherhood and that harmony. And if we can try to achieve being our brother's keeper, no matter who it is, brother, sister, mother, father, neighbor, children, if we can put that love in our hearts and expound on that hearts, that is what the world needs. That is what the fatherly love is all about. And the fatherly love, like I said, it is the mother-father God within us all. And we need to express that. I'm going to shift gears here, and I'm going to say happy solstice. And so just a little bit about the energies of the solstice. We're shifting into the sun in Cancer, so we're going into Cancer, and it emphasizes the new environment and desire to gain security with the new terrain. So we need to look at our lives, bringing in the positive aspects and unfolding new opportunities that dissolves many of our old challenges and challenging situations that have occurred over the last 2 years. So with this solstice, we have Venus, we have Jupiter aligned with Earth and the Sun, and with these, the situations over the last 2 years are being released, and then we go into new challenges. And so let's welcome summer in and the energies of nourishment and growth. And isn't that what a father and a parent's all about? That nourishment and growth. I had a friend in high school and college, David Pettit. And he once told me that I am exactly like my father. That was when I was 20 years old. I was furious. Really furious and disbelieving. It's like what Mark Twain was talking about. It's So I want to conclude my talk today with another poem, and this one is A Father Means. A father means so many things, an understanding heart, a source of strength and support right from the very start, a constant readiness to help in a kind and thoughtful way, with encouragement and forgiveness no matter what comes your way, a special generosity and always affection too. A father means so many things when he's a man like you. I thank you. Happy Father's Day. Namaste.